Well, they bring so much light to our communities, but people with developmental disabilities often go through life without a voice to advocate for themselves. In part one of this investigation, I took a look into local services that can help this vulnerable population, but often end up hurting it. And we want to warn some viewers, images in this report may be disturbing. Just tell me a little bit about Yvette, your sister.
She had a very creative mind. She loved to draw. She loved music. Her favorite artist was Michael Jackson. Her favorite movie was Disney's Cinderella, which to this day I cannot watch.
For Rebecca Ruiz, the bittersweet memories of her sister Yvette are vivid, almost 13 years after she died.
She wanted to learn how to read, even though they told her she couldn't. So I taught her little by little, and she was up to like a second grade level.
Yvette died in 2010 after a fall at Willow Glen Academy in Freeport. The company is now under a new name, Broadstep.
They would call us and they would say, oh, she got injured today. Oh, she fell today. Or I'm like, why is she constantly getting injured?
She lived at the Community Integrated Living Facility, or CILA, for a few years. Yvette struggled with mobility issues for weeks before the final fall that killed her.
She had to go to the washroom, but they let her go to the washroom by herself, and she fell. They didn't give her medical assessment right away. She was taken then to the group home later that day, where she fell again.
But Rebecca says it wasn't until she was in the hospital with irreversible brain damage that Willow Glen gave her family the full story.
My first reaction was shock, because they didn't tell us that she had fallen earlier in the day. I think the only reason they called us was because she was in a coma.
In Illinois, CILA homes are defined by the Department of Human Services as a living arrangement for adults in a group home, family home, or apartment where 8 or fewer unrelated adults with developmental disabilities live under supervision of the Community Developmental Services Agency.
This was not about money. No amount of money in the world will bring back their loved one.
Tara Devine, one of the Ruiz family's attorneys, says Rebecca and her mother sued to try to motivate change at Willow Glen.
It was very important for Rebecca and her mom to follow through on this and to follow up on it because, they don't want it to happen to another family.
Within the past few years alone, the Illinois Inspector General investigated hundreds and substantiated dozens of abuse and neglect claims in state-line CILA homes. In one, a Willow Glen employee was investigated for reportedly putting a resident in a headlock and grabbing them by the neck. Later that year, the same employee allegedly let a resident take a scalding hot shower, which resulted in severe burns on 45% of the person's body. At Goldie Floberg in Rockton, a 2020 investigation found an employee kicked a resident, dragged them across the floor, and pinned them against the wall. The worker was fired and the information turned over to police. In Dixon, at Kreider Services in 2022, a resident was left outside in the sun for so long he had a seizure, fell, and hit his head. He also developed heat stroke and a second-degree burn. Other confirmed reports from CILAs in the area include patients being given the wrong medication and having adverse reactions, patients wandering away in extreme heat or extreme cold, employees verbally abusing patients or leaving unannounced for extended periods of time during their shifts. While many residents walk away and heal from these events, others aren't so lucky, like Yvette Ruiz or Jeffrey Davin.
A loving, sort of nice person in an unfortunate situation.
Steve Levin is Davin's family's attorney. They are suing Milestone in Rockford after an incident in early 2020. Over a period of 5 months, Milestone employees struggled to place Davin's catheter on multiple occasions. Eventually, Davin suffered a urethral perforation and sepsis. The final procedure, according to a physician consulted by the prosecution, contributed to his death.
How any nurse could possibly do what they did in the case of Jeffrey Davin is mind-boggling to me.
Levin says a combination of short staffing and spotty regulation led to the deaths and a staggering number of other CILA abuse and neglect cases.
You don't go into a hospital and they say to you, we could have done this operation a little better, but we just have some huge staffing problems. In the institutional care setting, they often, in essence, say that.
You have underpaid, undertrained staff that's providing the majority of the care to a very vulnerable population.
Ruiz and Devine say lack of staffing was Willow Glen's defense after Yvette's death.
They said that they cared more for her than we did. You know, they had the legal amount of people there for care, but it was too much for the staff.
Rebecca and her mom were awarded a record-setting $1.6 million in their lawsuit against Willow Glen.
My sister was priceless, so no amount of money would ever be weighed against her.
But you don't necessarily feel vindicated with it.
No, because I'll never get her back.
Can you blame the staff? Can you blame the corporation? It's a system failure is what it is at the end of the day.
I hate to be pessimistic about it. We have a problem without a cut and dry solution.
Working for you in the state line, Marta Berglund, 23 News. Now, Willow Glen underwent a full managerial overhaul when it changed over to Broadstep, and Broadstep released the following statement saying they empathize with the family of Yvette Ruiz, and it has operated under new management with a renewed focus on quality care. And they say they also continue to work closely with DHS to meet regulatory standards. Now, the organization has no substantiated abuse or neglect claims as of April 5th this year. 23 News did reach out to every Scylla home in the state line mentioned in those DHS reports or recent lawsuits. All others declined to comment except Kreider Services, who we'll hear from in part 2 tonight on the 23 News update at 10. We'll also hear about a potential Scylla regulation law that would include higher class felony charges for those found abusing or neglecting patients.